process of creation. Ever since I was a kid, one of my favorite kids' books was How a Book is Made by Aliki, with Digging Up Dinosaurs also by Aliki being a close second. Consequently, when I heard about the anime Shirobako, and it was an anime about the making of anime, it was a show that became something that was immediately on my to-watch list. Well, now I finally had a chance, for various reasons causing the delay, to finish watching the show in its entirety, so it's time for me to give my thoughts. Shirobako is set around the fictional animation studio of Musashino Productions, and follows a group of friends from high school as they try to get into the animation industry through various avenues, after having, in high school, made a short film together. The lead character, Aoi Miyamori, has gotten a job as a production assistant at Musashino, which allows her, and thus the audience, to see every aspect of the animation production process, from writing to casting to recording to Foley to editing to final delivery of the TV station. The rest of her friends each represent different parts of the animation process, from 2D and 3D animation, to voice acting, to writing and the research side of the equation. Aoi's role as a production assistant allows her to bear witness, and thus through her the audience, to the difficulties of the tasks involved in the animation process, not just in terms of the act of animation itself, but also the various people and personalities in the animation process and how they affect each other, in turn affects how well or how poorly an anime series turns out. Whether it's issues with Taro, the production assistant with a bad habit of screwing up, or the director deciding he has to redo the series late in the production process, or just an utter failure to get clear lines of communication with the author of the manga that the studio is adapting for television. As Aoi sees each part of the process, we get an understanding of how these things play out through her reactions, both directly and through sort of internal skits that play out in her head, through Aoi's stuffed bear and a small gothic Lolita doll that she has. The show also brings up other real-world works of anime and real-world people in the industry in a sort of serial numbers filed-off fashion. Voice actresses play bland-named versions of themselves. Characters are clearly modeled off of people in the industry, including an appearance by a serial number filed-off version of Hideaki Anno, who was sadly not played by Anno himself. Even knockoff portions of other shows are brought up, including a climactic portion of an episode set in a museum exhibit done commemorating the anniversary of not Space Runaway Ideon. The show is perfectly willing also to poke fun at the studio that created this show itself. The show was animated by Studio PA Works, which prior to this series had shot a spectacular brick in the form of the anime series Glasslip, and Musashino has a similar failure in their imminent past. While the show's depiction of the animation industry is somewhat idealized, the show also points out that this is an industry people work in because people love anime. It does not necessarily pay well. It requires working very long hours and doing a lot of hard work with a lot of people who are sometimes jerks. So this is not something you necessarily do to be rich and famous. You do this because you love the medium and you love the art that can be created with it. With the hallmark of this being a recurring theme of, I always love an anime series called Andy's Chucky, which is based off one of the real-world seasons of World Masterpiece Theater, a long-running sort of anime meta-series. And this Andy's Chucky show is the show that inspired Aoi to want to work in anime in the first place. Prior to this, what I describe as the definitive anime about anime was definitely Animation Runner Kuromi, from the director of Jubei-chan, The Ninja Girl, and Fruits Basket. Shirobako, to a degree, eclipses that strongly as it updates all the information that you may have learned from that show on how anime and animation is made, and also brings a broader array of fleshed-out characters to the table. It's less slapsticky than Animation Runner Kuromi is. It also has the advantage that it is still in print, which Animation Runner Kuromi is not, because that show was put out by Central Park Media, which is no longer a thing that exists, and as at this time, not been licensed or rescued by anyone. Not Discotek, who would probably be the most likely person to bring it back, and not by Sentai Filmworks, who I'd probably put as the second most likely studio to bring it back. This series is a wonderful depiction of the process of creation, when it goes smoothly, and then when those working on it stumble and have to pick themselves up again, whether due to just creative struggles on their own front, to outside issues creating whole other problems. Because of the size of the show's cast, and because Aoi and her friends, I'm mangling her name throughout this entire episode, each represent different parts of the production process, from writing to animation, both 2D and 3D, to voice acting, to research and writing, to just the production side of things that links everyone together. This series does a much better job of getting across that anime is a medium that takes tens to hundreds of people to create. It is never, with rare exceptions like Voices of a Different Star, the act of a single auteur. Shirobako gets it across in a way that highlights everyone involved in the process of making an anime series and makes them the stars, even if they just only appear for a little bit. It really shows the wonders of animation and the animation process in a way that Kuromi didn't, and that in a way that movies made about making movies don't get. Movies like 8.5 or other films tend to focus, when they are focusing on the movie production process, on a single auteur creator, a writer, a director, not the key grips, not the cinematographers, not the camera crew, not the editors, not the effects people behind the scenes. Hell, even films about making Broadway plays, like All That Jazz, have the same problem. It focuses on the director of the play and the writer of the play, not the writers, just the director and choreographer of the play, as opposed to the, well, giving in similar amount of time to the actors and to the writers and the composers, and showing their sides of how this is put together. I have to give props to Shirobako, its writers, and everyone involved in this project for giving everyone their props. So, Shirobako is available for streaming worldwide on Crunchyroll and has received a Region 1 DVD release from Sentai Filmworks. I do not know who has licensed the show for a European or Oceania release, in terms of Australia, the UK, the rest of continental Europe. So, you'll have to look in your local markets, wherever you go to buy your DVDs from, if you're in those areas. The series is, at least for the US release on DVD, subtitle only. Now, this isn't a minus for some. It's not really a minus for me. But I do know that there are some people who have difficulty tracking subtitles in on-screen action. I have family members who are into anime who have the same problem. And it is somewhat worth mentioning because there are a few episodes where the dialogue goes really fast, like really fast. And I bring this up because in those episodes, who normally watches shows with subtitles, had to be super fast on the pause button to make sure that I wasn't missing information in those episodes. And this wasn't like blink and you miss it joke stuff. This was actually informative, useful information that I kind of would have missed if I hadn't rewound it, paused it, and in some cases even gone frame by frame to pick up this information. Before wrapping up, a quick little bit of business. This October and November, I'll be going to 3 conventions. I'll be attending Portland Retro Gaming Expo and KimuraCon in October. That's right, both conventions are in October this year. Portland Retro Gaming Expo is the weekend of the 22nd, and KimuraCon is the weekend of the 29th. Both are at the Portland Convention Center. KimuraCon is no longer in Vancouver. We've outgrown the space. Oh, they've outgrown the space, and also they've reduced the Vancouver convention space has been reduced, so we would have had to move anyway. I'll also be going to Oricon on the weekend of November 18th of this year. If you will be attending any of those conventions, let me know in the comments, and if you see me, please feel free to say hi. It's always nice to meet the viewer, if you will. I don't know, I have figures, but from the YouTube metrics, but still. Anyway, I'd also like to know what your Andy's Chucky is. What show or work, film, could be a television series, could be a short, got you interested in anime and animation. Let me know all that in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe to this channel. Subscribing gets you notified when future episodes come out, and liking lets me know that you enjoyed the episode. The video on the right will be of the previous episode of Nintendo Power Retrospectives, if you want to go see it or viewed previously on that show. And the video on the left will take you to the previous episode of Breaking It All Down, well, you'll get to see what I covered there. And below that will be a link to my Patreon page if you wish to back the show. Backing the show can get you a mention in the credits, and also, depending on your level of support, you can determine what I do future Let's Plays of on Breaking It All Down, and what else I review on that show as well. So go ahead and click on that and back the show. Also, backing the show helps me get the show out more often and improve the production quality of the show, which is good for everyone. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.